Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Conscious Gatherers. My name is Beverly Thompson and I'm with
AJ Royce.
uh, good that you're here with us today. And this is episode 153. And today's date is August the 19th, 2025. And hopefully we are streaming live because this last time it didn't only told us for a short time that we weren't streaming. And so we, continued talking and found out later that it didn't go through. So I certainly hope this goes through. I think we're still live. We did have a person on, and all of a sudden they're gone. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's all about, but we'll continue talking and hopefully this is being recorded. We do have, always have a lot to share and interesting things that come to us, and another way to look at ourselves and to look at the world and beyond. All of it. Because our perceptions are changing, becoming more heightened as we're going through this process of going into the higher frequencies of love in its purest form. Different way of saying it. Right. Do you have any add on to that?
No, just perception is everything.
Yeah. So our perceptions are definitely changing, and we're seeing life differently and more expansive. And day by day, it seems like we get a little bit more information or realize how much it's all within us. And it's just it's like, what do you mean it's all in us? But it is, and in ourselves. And I was listening to something a few days ago talking about telomeres, which are in our, in our nervous system, in our cells, and how they connect with all the energy. I only listened to part of it and realized I can't multitask when I'm listening to that, and I have a tendency to multitask. So to understand the biology of it all, it is there because we are talking about being made in so-called God's or Creator's image. We are that. So what do you? Add on, please.
Something while you were talking, I was thinking about. I've ever since I spiritually woke up, I have known that there's more space inside than there is outside, which kind of turns our understanding of spatial things upside down. But if you realize that you are co-creating with all of this, then that's the only way it can be. Excuse me. The creative part, you go inside, you think something out first. So you have these mental thoughts of that's where your blueprints are, so to speak. And so that's in your mind, you think about it first, and then you go from there in the creative process. So applying that to space itself, we go as far as we can think. So there's more space within than there is beyond. I don't know, that may be as clear as mud to you, but it's very clear to me.
It's very, to me, it's kind of tough to describe it.
Yeah, to put into words. Yeah, the wording is the hard part.
Yeah, I know we've talked about this, and we've been, yes, we are physical beings as we see ourselves, but how, what you're saying too is how physical are we really? And then our consciousness overrides the all of us.
Well, I was talking about the creative part of it.
Okay.
As opposed to the mental versus the physical, or spiritual versus physical.
It all goes together, but I think we have so many coming in and out, and so I sure hope this is being recorded. But
I hope so too.
If not, I'm not sure if we can repeat exactly what we've been talking about. put it this way, we're extremely incredible beings, and having this human experience on Earth at this time that we decided to be a part of and to make the changes that are going on. And indeed, that is what's happening now. In fact, I'm going to bring that up after a while, and because the word that came to me was regime, and I'll get into that in just a bit. But today we did talk to our galactic friends, and they did share a few things with us, and we want to share that with you today. And wow, just really, really interesting and times. To me, it's fun. I know a lot of people are having a hard time navigating the energetic influences that are happening now. I'm hearing all kinds of things. And me personally, most of the time I sleep a lot. So it's like, okay, my body needs it for whatever reason. And I just listen to the body. So, yeah. So go ahead and add to that if you would.
I didn't have anything to say.
Oh, shoot. Like, okay. She will.
I will.
I will. All right. Regarding today, and look, I would look up when I'm trying to think, or look to the left to help bring in some memories or information. So that does happen. Notice yourselves doing the same thing. Or sometimes you look down just to really concentrate or focus on something. But most of the time, I'm looking up. So that says something about what's in our physical.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll be looking straight at somebody or something, but I won't be seeing that. I'll be seeing something that's going on in my mind, working out something or putting pieces together, whatever it is. So we do things in a lot of different ways, and they're tailor made, like we were talking about earlier. We're unique.
Very unique. One thing I just made me think about this now is, as a child, I would. I think we have talked about this in podcasts, but anyway, I'm going to repeat. I would daydream a lot. I was always daydreaming, and I would get on myself because I'd be in school and I'd miss a good part of the class because I was out somewhere else, and I didn't quite understand it, but I was aware of it, and even walking. I remember walking, and I would be somewhere else, even though I knew I was walking to school. But man, I was gone. Did you realize that as a child too?
Yeah, I'd be looking out the I can still see it very clearly, looking out the windows toward the playground, and I was not in the playground. My thoughts were someplace else because I never really felt like a part of that classroom. Pure and simple. I never did. So I know.
You took over a classroom once.
Oh,
right?
That was in the 5th grade. Well, the teacher was late, and I got tired of waiting, so I got up and started the class myself.
And the kids let you. They didn't see any issue with it, right?
Oh man.
So it really is when you step in when you know you need to step in.
Yeah.
And that's what you did even as a child.
I didn't think of it.
and they were okay with that. And I think many of us are doing that without overriding somebody else. We know the time, and if you really feel it, if you need to step in, you step in. And
I think that's a precursor. If that happened to us when we were real young, I think that's a precursor of things to come. There's going to come a time when this part of you that is not restricted is going to start taking over, and you are in the process of guiding your own life, and so that's my take on it anyway.
Well, you mentioned the word restrictive, and that goes along with what we're going to talk about today. And do you want to share first?
Sure.
Yeah. The insight that you received. These beings, I believe they're the Galactic Federation, and so they share just a little bit with us, and very apparent, when Royce came over, because the energy is just like, whoa. I mean, you tangibly feel it, and I could definitely feel the energy, and I was like, whoa, who's here? And sometimes I'm just like, I'm sitting in a chair, and it's like I almost not pushed back, but it's like, sheesh,
Yeah, I
okay.
was feeling it in the car coming over. It's a very powerful day.
Yeah.
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 So we sat down and kind of quieted ourselves a little bit, and then these beings became apparent, and so we started receiving information from them, and so here's what I received. We are here from the ascended realms. Humanity is at a pivot point. No longer are the anchors of darkness held in place. They have been uprooted. They have served humanity in their own way by exposing the hidden angers buried deep within the psyche of your civilization. Anger has infiltrated your, meaning civilization, cellular structures, causing disruptions to occur. Release the anger from the inside out, and your lives will flourish beyond your most immaculate dreams. Pivot into peace within yourselves, and the rest will fall into place. And they finished with the word namaste, which means, translated from Sanskrit, the God within me recognizes the God within you.
Well, I think it's pretty interesting because they were talking about releasing the anger, and we're definitely seeing that. And there are certain ones that are trying to perpetuate that division, and to try to keep people angry. And some people are just saying BS, and they're not following along with it. There are some, yes, and some of the crazy ones that we might call crazy ones, but some lashing out. And so when they do, it's just, back up a little bit, allow them their space. But that doesn't mean that you need to be a part of it. Now I'm just trying to think of, you'll know when to step in, so to speak. And you also know when to step out.
I think
Okay.
this silk thread thing fits in right here.
Okay.
So something occurred to me yesterday. Was mending a shoe with some thread, and all of a sudden I had the thought, oh, I should be using silk thread instead of just regular old polyester thread. And then my mind just churned on that and went kind of crazy. And I was thinking about that old saying that you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. And I started thinking about the silk thread, how that relates to what my thoughts were. And I was thinking that, if you relate that to like personalities, if there's someone who is acting not up to par of what they could be. In other words, if they're playing the part of a sow's ear, then what can you do in that case? You can use your silk thread, and you relate that to the love within you, or kind words, or whatever it is that you want to relate to that. But you use your own silk thread to mend where any tears are. Like usually when somebody is acting out, they have some kind of a hole within them. Something is missing, something has been hurt, something's been torn in their personality. So you can use your silk thread to try mend that so that your interaction with them is better. Um, but it's all in the part that you play, what your interaction is. It's the action that you take, and not that the wish that you have for it. You
Mhm.
can. I think of uh, Burgess Meredith when I think of this, the wish that you have for anything. And I think it was in the movie Grumpier Old Men, and I've made mention of this before, but his character said, you can wish in one hand and crap in the other, and see which one gets filled quicker. So it's, you can wish for something all you want. That's not going to make it happen, but you can make action. Use the love you have within it. Use your silk thread to do your best to mend, to make it better. But it's not that you're going to change it. That's up to the other person. The responsibility is theirs, but the part that you play is that's your responsibility. That's my responsibility and how I interact with other people. So eventually all of this mending that you try to do with this other sow's ear, eventually that sow's ear is going to disintegrate and fall apart, and all that's going to be left is the silk thread. So what is it that we get from that? It's that you make your own silk purse. Use your thread to make your own silk purse and move on. You do your best in your interactions with everybody, with life, with people, with everything. And you do your best. That's all you can do. Do your best. And that's what everybody's responsibility is. And if they don't, that's not up to you. You do your best, your responsibility.
Because they each have their own path, their own things to work out. We have no right to interfere. Now, we can assist, and if they take that assistance, fine. And we were talking about the word conditional and unconditional earlier today. And so your silk thread, trying to make a sow's ear into a silk
A silk
purse,
purse.
it's not going to work. And so, if we're thinking it's going to work, and I really want to help this person, blah 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 blah, but then it gets into the conditionality of, hey, I'm going to help you here. Then how can you help me here? And
And
that's a
even,
whole another part of the whole equation. I
yeah,
realize that. Yeah.
and even though you're using silk thread, don't have any strings attached to what you do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do your best, because that's what's in your heart. Your desire is to do your best and let it go. When you have strings attached to everything that you do, well, I got you this. Aren't you going to do this for me? That's strings attached. Just do your best and let it go.
Yeah. In the other word, we strings attach or attachment. Yeah. Same thing.
And emotional attachments. We were talking
Mhm.
about that, I think, on the
Mhm.
phone. When we have emotional attachments to anything, people, things, anything that limits, that restricts it, and there isn't going to be any movement, any growth, because we shut it down. So I guess the moral of the story is lighten up.
Lighten up. Yeah. Well, we were talking. Okay, Royce and I do talk quite a bit. There was something that you thought, okay, this is what I want, and this is how I want it, and without going into the details. And then you realized, oh, yeah,
Nothing's happening. You closed it
I
down.
closed it down, and so any other possibilities weren't allowed to get through that energy.
Yeah.
And so then you realized, like, oh, what am I doing?
Yep. Yep.
So we do that. I think we each do that a lot. But then all of a sudden it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think everyone does that. I think we see that playing out on the world stage all over the place today. Um, so we're shutting down our own growth and the growth of our civilization. Um, so if we can allow room for growth, just by that thought, allowing room for growth, allowing somebody else to be as they are, because that's their choice, their path, and that leaves room for the relationship to possibly blossom or not. That's everybody's choice.
Mhm.
But yeah, if we can just let go of those restrictions that we impose on ourselves and everybody else, then that'd be a whole lot better.
It's going to make life much more fun and easier.
Yeah.
So it's just working through things that we've held on to for a very long time in this life and other lives. It's amazing when you start realizing this.
Yeah, I was talking to a little fellow at the copy store the other day. He's very young, about 19, and I was talking to him about why did he choose such and such a thing to go on his little card, his what do you call those?
Business card?
Thank you, business card. And he said, well, back then that's what, I just had to choose something. And I started thinking, that moment by moment we are growing. And just because we chose something uh, last year doesn't mean it's the thing that we would choose this year. So we're leaving room for ourselves to grow. And there was another reason why I brought that up, and I don't remember what it was.
It'll come back.
Or not.
I'm going to mention this now, and I'll get into my insight in a moment. But working with a lot of people on their interiors and interior design that I've done for 50 some years, a lot of people don't want to give something up because they spent so much money on it. And I understand that. Like, I spent all this money on it. I can't just let it go. And I'm like, well, do you like it? Perhaps you could, somebody in your family would like it, or sell it, or whatever, so they can just rid themselves of it and not be so attached to something just because they spent good money on it. And that's the word they use, good money. It's like, and you start thinking about that, and it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, So what? Spent good money on it, then if you don't like it, let it go. Or doesn't mean anything to you, let it go.
Yeah, I remembered what it was. I was talking about that fellow. I told him that, here you are so young and you picked this out, and you already know that, it would be something different that you would choose today. And I said, I'm 69 years old and I just got it that I'm a whole different person. And what I wanted before just doesn't fit, and so, we reach those plateaus and we keep on going if we will let ourselves go.
Yeah, I like the word you said, because it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit anymore. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going on to some of the words that I received today. And I did hear merry-go-round. And I'm going to explain that in just a bit, because I thought, merry-go-round, what does that mean? And then I also heard finalization. And here's the words that followed. All underway. I do leave some words out. All is underway. Beyond the tipping point. So we're beyond the tipping point. Your perspectives will even be more broadened. It is the second coming, not related to the man named Jesus, but the incoming star beams. And I rarely talk about the man that we call Jesus by that name, Jesus. I call him Yeshua, or I use the cosmic name Sananda. But that's the word that they use, and so that's our name that they used. And so the second coming we call that Christ consciousness that we all are gaining within our beings. But here, what they're saying is the second coming, incoming star beings. Now, that can mean different things. I just realized it. Yeah, I'm looking at your face because you got it, right? Because it's, we think of these, we are getting a lot of visitations from many star beings, and like we did today, but even in a more physical manner. And it can also mean we're going to realize that we are those star beings, which really goes along with something else I wanted to bring up. I have more to share with my insight today, but I'm going to insert this now because this just came to me. All right. As I'm working on my latest or fourth book, I've been recounting some of the things that I visited physically and in consciousness on Egypt. And so I'm including quite a bit, at least from my perspective, in my book on Egypt. And I came across something that I wrote probably 26 years ago, right around there. And I think this was a little bit later that I was seeing it, because I would get visions over in Egypt quite a bit. And under the Sphinx, I noticed, this is me, okay? This is me. I noticed a large spaceship and felt it belonged to Thoth or Tehote, different names given to this being. And he's the one that's depicted with an ibis head and occasionally as a baboon face. So in different ways. And then the Greeks referred to him as Hermes. So Hermes. And back a few, I did write down the year, and I'm not finding it right now. But anyway, I was told by Tehote, or I call him Thoth, he moved his ship because I was seeing a lot of energy that was going on on the Giza Plateau. And then I noticed that he moved his ship from that location. And so the following day, Teote or Thoth told me, another regime is entering the earth. I now take my leave. This regime has a different itinerary from the last 11,000 years. It is a way for humanity to understand their roots and how they coincide with the planters and seeders of this planet Earth.
There you have it.
Yeah. And do you really know what a regime is? I looked it up. So it actually, the definition is a system or planned way of doing things, especially one imposed from above. I thought, that's interesting. And so I had asked for more information on Thoth Atlantis, because there's a connection with Atlantis in Egypt. And the response was a change of guard, so to speak. So this regime change, a change of guard, so to speak. And I'm thinking, guard? Because that's like, huh? And then I said, well, we are our own guardians, aren't we? Or are we not? And so is this regime us and more? So, talking about the return of the star beings, incoming star beings. So I think it means all of the above.
Yeah.
We're talking about dimensional beings, or, we are your future, and all these things that I was told when I was writing my books. We are future coming back, talking to you now. It's pretty wild.
Well, it was really wild back then when we first got that kind of information,
Mhm.
but it's become something that we can wrap our heads around now because we can relate to it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's happening.
it's happening.
It's happening. All right. I'm going to finish on with my insight that I received from these the galactics that came in today. They said the man you call Donald will soon be making a declaration, and this is for the whole world. There soon will come a time when it appears the earth just stops. Like after the day the earth stood still. I mean, it was like the earth just stopped. I was like, what the heck? So, um, do you want to say anything at this point? Because you had some comments on that.
Well, when she said that, I had a vision of like our the plane of our solar system. You know, they have all the planets in place and the sun there, and um, I saw it shift from like here to like here. You know, it shifted totally around. So that, you know, if you're on the earth, then talked last time about for the gifts, the shifts of energy to take place, there has to be a pause so the gears can shift into place to like change direction. So you have the planets in one place, and then all of a sudden there is this pause, you know, the day the
Mm-hmm.
earth stood still. And if it's daylight for the earth, then it wouldn't go to nighttime yet until after that shift occurred. Then the pause would be finished and it would resume. So there'd be day and night and day and night like we usually have.
A lot of questions come up.
Mhm.
A lot more questions just as you're explaining this. Do you feel that our planets are going to change their direction around the sun or our location? Now, I did get years ago, and I wrote this in my books about a lot of the planets moving out of our solar system and other planets moving in, or planets that are already there that we can't see and starting to see, which is happening, by the way,
Mhm.
um, are coming to the forefront of our consciousness. And so, are we? I'm just asking if you know or conceptualize
All,
any of
all I
this.
can tell you is what I saw was like the shift from from like here to here, like the solar plane playing field, as if you will, uh, just making a shift.
Oh, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the planets would move to, they would stay the same but move. Um, the same relationship to the sun, but the whole thing flip flopping.
Okay.
That's what I saw in vision today. You
Okay.
know, that may change tomorrow. I don't know, but that's just what I saw today when you were
When the
talking.
Earth stood, I mean, because I felt like everything just stopped. Everything just stopped. What is this? And in my vision, I also heard pulling on the dragon's tail. I'm like, huh? So pulling on the dragon's tail, and then it's like you're holding on the end of a tail, and things are swinging around, and so you're in that center point. That's what we got out of pulling on the dragon's tail. So there may be more to that. I just don't know yet.
Yeah, I was thinking about Sling the Biscuit. That was a game that we used to play out on the playing field. Um, we have one kid and they're holding hands with somebody else and them to somebody else and on down the line. Person on the end, you're going around in a circle, slinging people around, and so the end person eventually loses their footing and they fall off. So that's Sling the Biscuit. And then the next person in line becomes the biscuit. So
and that goes to and I mentioned merry-go-round, and so that's the words that I received earlier in the meditation. So it's much like swinging the biscuit.
yes, you've got some more on that.
I do, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But it's the same concept. So that's what there's everything's going round and round and round. That's all the stuff that's going on in the earth. But it's probably more than that too. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, oh, okay. So hang on, it's all well. But the other thing I heard the word finance. Okay. And they said it's a whole other regime. Back to the word regime.
Mm-hmm.
The alliance, hopefully a lot of you that are listening to this, the alliance, the white hats, other terminology, but those are two that have been used. The alliance is partnered with the Galactic Federation.
Yeah.
So, yes, I have heard that, and that was even talked about today. So I think that's along with our whole financial system is changing over the whole earth. So I've known about that for quite a while. In fact, I wrote about it in my second book. I just didn't quite understand what they were saying because they said it was going to be through the use of computers. I'm like, huh? And that's before Bitcoin even was an entity. So anyway, that is happening. And so our whole financial system is changing. And I think many of you know that already. What else? So keep in mind, I was told to keep in mind your abilities, all of our abilities, and our access point, talking about
Unaffected.
yes, exactly. So that was the main message from them today, but it's really pretty big, and when you start breaking this down of what we were told today. So financial system, incoming star beings, which is more realization of ourselves, along with our galactic friends that are making themselves known. Now I did hear this. I'm just going to repeat it because I did not say it, I heard it. And so use discernment, but there are, I think, 54 different type of beings that are already present here on this earth. Most of them look human. So it's been happening, or ourselves, we can look in the mirror. We already are galactic humans. And so, each of us look in the mirror. If you want to see an ET, go ahead, put the mirror in front of you. And so, it doesn't mean that they have to be green, blue. Some of them are, or the look of a cat, the feline beings or any of the other beings that are talked about now. And there's a lot of drawings and old ruins that depict a lot of these type of beings. So more of them are coming forth in a more physical sense. So just stay in that access point, and most of these beings are very benevolent, and they have a lot to show us, and vice versa. So we're all in this together. So okay.
I was thinking, my mind kind of drifted into back in time when you were talking about galactic. We're all galactic beings. If you're any kind of a Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young fan, then you know that we are stardust. So just pay attention to those songs back in that era specifically and especially. You'll hear a lot of interesting words spoken. People were getting things, glimpses of what's really going on. and we were singing about it.
Yeah. Do we really know what we're talking about? But yeah, we give ourselves triggers and markers along the way, and be it through song, through singers. We're all in this together. We're all in this field together. Morphogenetic. I can never say that word. Morphogenetic field, and so that collective consciousness. And some of us can hear it, and some of them just let it go by. So you take in what is best for you out of this field. But we're all in this together. We're all in that field together. So it's just interesting, and that we're not out here in the outer planes of existence. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, navigating this life has been really interesting for me. I never thought I would be feeling some of the things that I have felt, or doing some of the things that have been done. It's just been an amazing ride. I'll put it that way. Oh, what a circus!
It is. So you can be whatever part of the circus you want to be.
That's right.
We do have that free will, and amazing planet that we all volunteered to be a part of.
Yeah. And, I just thought about the House of Mirrors. Whoa.
Yeah.
That takes on a whole different meaning now.
Yeah.
This whole life has been like a house of mirrors. You get to see yourself in all these different roles that you've been playing. It's quite incredible.
Quite a movie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. We could go on and on about all of that, but at this point, anything else that you want to say? Any last words?
I just, I really feel for all the people going through. I know people are going through some really, really, really tough times, circumstances, and the pain, emotional and physical, that people are experiencing. You are not forgotten. You're not alone. We're right there with you.
Mm-hmm.
And my prayers, my meditations, my highest thoughts enfold you with love. And I hope that you can feel it, because I can feel it going out to you. I love you all, no matter what. So hang on. This is a beautiful planet. You don't have to look too far to see that, no matter where you are. Sometimes you have to disjoint yourself from your own circumstances in order to see it, but it is there. But the most beautiful part resides deep within. It is there. It is a spark of beauty, of light, that can do anything. The most powerful force on anywhere is love. It cannot be equaled in any way. There is no equal opposite to it. It is supreme.
Mm-hmm.
Just know that. And maybe that thought will help you to get through your day. But I love you all, and I am so grateful that you have stayed, because your presence here means something. And I'm grateful for you.
Well, thank you. Can we hold it together here? All right. Thank you. I love you. We'll be back in 2 weeks. And until then, understand the love that you truly are, that you're a part of, and then you utilize that to the best of your ability. But there's no buts. It just is. All right. Thank you, and good night.